Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kin 483. This class covers statistics in human movement. If you've had an introductory statistics course as part of your GE, some of the terminology you see this semester might sound a bit familiar, but the main goal of this class is to prepare any of you wanting to go into research fields, so you know how, one, to organize your study designs, and then furthermore how to analyze any data that you collect, so that you're presenting your results in a correct manner. It's also going to be helpful for any of you who not necessarily want to go into research, but part of the fields that I'm assuming most of you are going into will require you to keep up on reading current materials on your fields of study. So it's also going to be valuable for helping you to better understand how to interpret the results of different peer-reviewed articles that you might read in the future. I wanted to do this video, one, to go over the syllabus, but also to introduce you to me. Usually I get class time with you guys, and throughout the semester we get to know each other really well, but we don't get the luxury of in-person interactions this semester, which I'm really sad about. But just to give you a bit of introductory information about who I am and where I come from. I'm originally from the Central Valley of California. My hometown is about an hour south of Fresno. Nobody really ever knows where my hometown is, so I just don't say what my town is. But I moved to Long Beach in 2014 to transfer in to the dance department, and in fall of 2016 I was able to finish my BA in dance science, which is like a cross between dance and kinesiology majors. And then I decided to go for my master's in exercise science and finish that degree in fall of 2018. From there, I was in the right place at the right time and was hired on to the kinesiology department part-time lecturer team, if you want to call us that. So I've been doing that for almost 2 years now and have really enjoyed it, and I think that experience really contributed to my goals that I have now, because I really love teaching people your age, and so I now am pursuing a PhD so that I can teach in the future. And I just got accepted to UMass Amherst. So I'll be living in Massachusetts for the duration of this semester and the rest of my time out here, which is about 4 years. So that's just one small thing to keep in mind as far as like email correspondence, or when I post stuff. It's all going to be largely based off of my Eastern time. Anytime you have due dates or deadlines, they will be posted as Pacific Standard Time, so it should be easy for you guys to keep track of your deadlines. As far as school involvement, there's a list of courses that I've been able to teach in both the kinesiology and dance departments over the last couple of years. I used to be the research coordinator for STAR, which is the Center for Sport Training and Research that's led by Dr. Wu. And I don't even know if that is available anymore as a class. I think it got closed, but that was a really cool way for me to share research experience with students, and it provided me an opportunity to conduct research at the cost of the school. So some really cool stuff I've gotten to do in association with that program. This semester I'm only teaching this class, So you guys have my undivided attention. Last semester I taught 5 classes and that was a lot. But this semester, in addition to having my own coursework for my doctoral program and the TA courses that I'm going to be working on in association with UMass, I figured 1 class is good. As far as interests and hobbies, I love cats. It's not that I don't love dogs. I identify with cats more. So they will likely pop up in memes or GIFs because memes and GIFs are cool. I got a lot of reviews over the last 3 semesters that people love memes and GIFs. I think they're great icebreakers. They make material more relatable. A lot of times I just like certain memes or GIFs and they're not even relevant to the topic we're talking about, but it kind of like loosens people up, gets you to laugh, or you're laughing at me, laughing at jokes that I think are great but aren't really that great. So sometimes, usually at the beginning of the week, for whatever lecture we're doing, I always have the memes of the week or dad jokes of the week, just because I think it's fun. I'm also a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm into horoscopes. I'm a Libra. Balance. I also danced for about 15 or 16 years. I'm an avid bowler since about the age of 4 or 5. I also did speed skating at a young age and do that recreationally now. I like being outdoors and hiking, but I also like chill time inside with all the streaming services. And then about a year and a half ago, I got into attending music festivals and raves. And I'm really sad that I am now so removed from where a lot of the big ones are. So, yeah, I don't know, that's kind of me. I also wanted to introduce who my guest stars will be on some of my videos, just because I think I'll most likely be doing a lot of Zoom lectures from home, so my cats will probably show up in videos at times. The first cat is Boo. More often than not, if he pops up, he'll just be sleeping somewhere. He's really cute, and I love him very much. He's 7, so he's a middle-aged man. But that's Boo. And then I also have Butter. She is the more adventurous of my 2 cats, so if she ever pops up in a video, she will likely be walking either across the computer screen or behind me somewhere. She also likes to have conversations, especially when she wants to play with her favorite toys. So if she comes in and yells at me, she doesn't know that I'm recording anything. So it's a possibility. Also, if you guys hear bells jingling in the background, that's usually them. I don't know if you heard that now, but that was Butter. I also have 2 dogs, Theodore and Bartholomew, or Theo and Barry. They don't live with me. Yes, baby. They don't live with me, which I'm really sad about, but they're super cute. They live with my mom, and everybody loves to look at dogs, so that's why they're on here, relevant. Okay, now we're going to go into some syllabus highlights. So I'm going to exit out of this and pull up our syllabus. I sent out a preliminary version of this to you guys once in July and once at the beginning of August with the pre-semester survey link. And this is the finalized course syllabus based on the responses that I got from the survey. So all times have been updated from that tentative syllabus that I sent to you previously. At the top is my email. That's the best way to contact me throughout this semester, other than asking questions in Zoom meetings, which we will have on a weekly basis on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Okay, 9 to 10 only. That'll be 12 o'clock my time in Massachusetts. If that time doesn't work for you, you can always schedule an appointment, or you can use the course virtual office. That's going to be kind of a discussion board section where you can just ask general questions with regards to the class or assignments. So the way that I have it set up is there's a weekly discussion board, completely optional to participate in, but the course virtual office is for general course questions. That's stuff related to the syllabus, to the course schedule, etc. If you have more specific questions with regards to activities or quizzes or lecture content, there will be a specific discussion board for each week. That way our discussions are more organized if you want to refer back to other students' questions that have been asked earlier in the semester. Okay, so those are office hours. Pretty much worked for everyone who responded. Or if you were interested in doing office hours, you just put NA, which is also cool. Oh my god, my cat is freaking out. For class meetings, we will have online live Zoom meetings on Mondays at 3 o'clock. That worked with more than 80% of those of you who responded. I know some of you have jobs and you don't get off work until about 5 o'clock. So unfortunately, I think the recorded lectures are going to be the best option for you. Obviously, you can always ask for a Zoom meeting, and then once you've gone through the recorded lecture, if you have any additional questions, you can email me or we can set up a separate Zoom meeting. That way you have the opportunity to ask those questions. So we'll be doing those at 3 o'clock. All lectures will be posted onto Beachboard. There will be a link in the media section that you can go to. Usually they'll be posted within 24 hours of the initial lecture date and time. A lot of times in the past when I've uploaded to the media section, it does take a long time for videos to upload. So I wanted to do most of my videos via YouTube. So if the media section proves to be difficult or I can't insert the YouTube links, which I'm pretty sure I can, then know that I'll always share the YouTube links with you guys. And I wanted to use YouTube because student reviews students in previous semesters had commented that the media section, either the videos loaded really slow or if they were working in different windows, it was hard to watch. Versus YouTube, like you can have the app downloaded on your phone and you can watch the video on your phone while simultaneously having a bigger workspace on your screen when you're doing the different steps for the activities. So trying to use YouTube. And then you can refer to the online meeting tab in the content section to find the Zoom links for each lecture and office hours. Those are recurring links. So, and they do have passwords, but I'll go over that in a separate video. For activities, all of those are going to be pre-recorded videos. Past semesters, people really love the pre-recorded videos because there are a lot of steps that we will go through for different activities, and it's a lot easier if you can stop and start at your own will and do everything at your own pace. I know when we had like in-person class time activities took double the time that they probably would have taken if you were doing it at home, just because people pick up stuff at different, speeds, and I think the pre-recorded will be the best option for the activities. You should have taken all of your general coursework in the kin department in order to take this class. Like I said previously, this course is supposed to go over a lot of different methods for analyzing data, and like helping you to figure out if you're doing research, based on the variables you have, what type of statistical analysis you need to use, as well as how to conduct that statistical analysis, and then furthermore interpret what that information actually means. These are your student learning outcomes, or your course learning outcomes, as they'll also be referred to on Beachboard. These are kind of the 5 main things you should be able to do by the end of the semester. In addition to the course learning outcomes, you'll also have module learning outcomes, which will be more specific to the week and the topic that we're learning during this semester or throughout this semester. As far as course expectations, this class does take a good amount of time. I've had a lot of variability with students in the past on how much time they spent outside of class between studying and doing their regular weekly activities. Obviously, the lecture used to be 2 hours. Because it was a lecture activity, and we kind of had flexibility on what days we did which. But, it's a 3-unit course. You're supposed to expect to spend about 9 hours a week on your stuff. So I kept the 2 hours a week hypothetically for lecture, first to actually obtain the content, watch the video the first time around, and then if you watch it additional times to review concepts. Your activity should take you about 2 hours a week. I think the more times you do the activities, the better. It gives you more practice, gets you more comfortable using the different types of software. Just going through the steps can really, really, really elevate how you perform in the class. And then whatever time you have left over, which in this situation I put 5 hours, right, is attending office hours or doing any additional studying that you want to. As far as resources in the class, you don't have to buy a textbook. I think that you already pay enough money for a tuition. And being a student myself, books can get extremely expensive. So, if you're a student who likes to have a supplemental information or supplemental reading, feel free to buy either of the textbooks. The first textbook is what your lecture material is built off of. The second textbook would be helpful when you're navigating SPSS. It gives you different scenarios and step-by-step processes on how to conduct the test. But like I said, pretty much everything you have for the class will be provided for you in the lectures and activity videos. So if you want them, completely optional. If you're going to buy the textbooks or rent them for a semester, I suggest using cheapesttextbooks.com. Literally has saved me so much money compared to using the university bookstore. Not that I want to take away their business, but you can get semester rentals sometimes for like $20, versus spending $100 for a book that you don't even, get close to that amount when you sell it back, if you sell it back. So that's an option if you want to utilize it. As far as computer access and software, you need to have reliable access to a computer. It doesn't matter if it's shared or your own, but if it is shared, you just need to make sure anyone else you're sharing it with knows that your classes are a priority and you're sharing relatively equally. If you don't have a computer, you can rent one through the school. I don't know what types of computers they are loaning out for this semester, but there are resources that I will be posting later for you to follow up on if you want to get a computer from the school to use. You also will need reliable internet access. One, to watch the videos for the class, and two, SPSS has some funky thing where you need internet. I'm not really sure why, but in the past when I've tried to use it without internet, it got weird. So just make sure you have those two things. We'll also, as far as software, we'll be using Microsoft Excel a lot. You pretty much get a spreadsheet every single week. And then we'll also be using SPSS starting about week 2 or 3. So you have a little bit of time to download that onto your computer. Please note that both of these softwares are available through the Software Depot on your single sign-on page. I will do another video to kind of show you how to download both of those, and kind of like troubleshoot any issues that you might run into when you're trying to download those. Microsoft programs are free through your student email. I think it gives you access to the Office 365 program, but sometimes Excel is limited on the graphing capabilities. I don't know if they've updated the type of access you have, because we are solely online and campus computers aren't available for use by students anymore. So I believe it's also available for purchase, and the last time I checked, it was pretty cheap. So you can always check out the Software Depot for Microsoft programs if you don't already have them installed. And then you'll also want to install SPSS. It's available for download for both Windows operating systems, and if you have a Mac or Apple product type computer, which, based on the survey of those of you who responded, Macs were the most popular. I have a Mac, so that's one thing to consider when I'm doing videos. I will be using version 25 of SPSS. I think for Macs, based on the operating system that's in place, version 25 is the easiest to download. I haven't tried any of the newer versions because I think they just came out this year. But version 25 is what I'll be using for all of my sample videos. It is important to note that when you're looking at the activity videos for Excel procedures, Mac Excel is different from Windows Excel. So if there's some nuanced thing that you're like, that's not what I see when I, do my stuff on my computer, then you can always ask me questions because I know how to work both Windows and Mac on Excel. The other thing is if you have a Google Chromebook or a Surface Pro, you will not be able to download SPSS. Classically, I don't know why. I guess those operating systems don't support SPSS. So if you're in that boat, you will be using the virtual lab. That is also available on the single sign-on page, and I will also do a video on that because I didn't even know this existed until a couple semesters ago, and it's a really great resource. Also, it's an alternative if you don't want to purchase Microsoft programs. This virtual lab space basically gives you a campus computer desktop. It's a Windows operating system, and you can have access to SPSS if you are enrolled in this class, which if you're watching this video, you should be. Okay, so these are 3 things that you'll want to know how to access. The grading criteria for this class is pretty standard. Again, at Long Beach, we don't do plus or minuses, so your grade is your grade. If your final grade lands on a cusp with a decimal of 0.5 or greater, so let's say you have a B in the class, you're at 89.5%, and that's your final grade. Like, obviously, a 0.5% or 0.5% of your final grade isn't going to amount to much when you're looking at assignments. So usually what I'll do is I round up to the next whole percent. If you had an 89.4, I'm sorry. No rounding, don't ask. Okay. This is how the grade distribution is broken down. You'll have 4 exams total, but you're only required to take 3. Okay, so you drop your lowest test grade, so thus exams are worth 30% of your final grade, 10% each. If you don't like if you take the first 3 exams and you're like, I don't like one of my test scores and I want to, shoot for a higher grade, you can take the final. The final is cumulative, just to keep that in mind. I've had students in the past where they couldn't attend exams 1 through 3, or like one of those, and then they ended up taking the final at the end of the semester, but you have a little bit of wiggle room if life gets in the way. Okay. You'll also have 9 quizzes. Each quiz matches each week we have a topic that we are discussing. Those will be about 2% each. They'll usually be 10 points, which usually equals 10 questions, but sometimes I'll have multi-point questions. So quizzes you'll be able to take 2 times. At the end of the quiz, you'll be able to see what questions you got wrong and which ones you got right. So you can take note of those, go back, revisit the information, try to figure out, where things went wrong, and then you get a second attempt. Your highest attempt will be exported into the grade book. Okay. And then in the case that there's a bad question, which sometimes that happens, if more than 65% of the class misses that question, I usually toss it out. Okay. As far as activities, there will be 10. 9 of them will go with our topic weeks when we have PowerPoint lectures. And then the 10th activity is going to be a review activity. It basically amounts to free points if you've been studying on a regular basis, and that'll be before the last exam. Okay. So that activities will amount to 50% of your grade. I think you should be rewarded in your grade where the most work is put in, and activities honestly are probably going to take the most time. And I know exam anxiety or test anxiety is real, and in an online environment it's even more real. So I don't want you guys to have to stress about your exams making or breaking your grade. Okay, the time that you put in outside of our lecture time is what's really going to count. Late work will be marked down 5% if it's turned in within 24 hours of the designated due date for activities only. So say you have a last minute question and I didn't respond right away. First of all, don't ask questions at the last minute. Try to plan it ahead as much as you can. But let's say your assignment is due at 11:59 and you forget, or you had work and you couldn't finish your assignment on time, you can still turn it in the next day. The Dropbox will be open. As soon as 24 hours hits though, so say it's due on Monday at 11:59 and you turn it in by 11:59 on Tuesday, you're still good. You only get marked down 5%. Okay. So I'm trying not to penalize you guys for life situations, but I'm also trying to keep you accountable for making sure you hit your deadlines. Okay. The only time this will, be given grace is if you tell me about, a, drastic situation prior to the due date in time, or if, within like 24 hours of something catastrophic happening. Other policies and information, make sure that you check Beachboard on a daily basis, or at least, like twice a week at minimum. Set up your notifications. I'll post a video that tells you how to do that. So if you're not familiar, no worries. Okay. But you can set certain updates to be notified when things are posted, when they're updated, when your grades are posted, that type of thing. So I think it's going to be really important since we're all online. That's where all the information is going to get sent other than email. And usually when I send emails, I also put a post on Beachboard so you get the information twice. You should have no excuse for not knowing when things are due or when things are happening or when whatever, okay? There are going to be a few opportunities for extra credit throughout the semester. When we have review weeks, you will not have anything due, okay? So, no activities, no quizzes. There is only one exception to that, and it's at the end of the semester. So what I decided to do is, since reviews are optional, we will have a review session via Zoom, similar to a regular lecture week, and we'll go over the activity, okay? So, or whatever the review activity is. And there will be a Word document that you can, use to fill in answers and make notes and whatever. And then use as a practice test if you want to after the fact. But if you do that review activity, there will be a quiz link where I'll have specific questions that are spaced out from that review activity. You pop in those answers, you submit. Same as other quizzes, you'll get 2 attempts. So if you make a mistake, it's okay. Just redo the quiz and, your highest attempt is recorded. But that'll count as 1% extra credit towards your exams. So there will be 3 review quizzes total. So that's 3% of extra credit that you can add onto your grade, okay? As far as instructional policies and requirements, this is all stuff on accessibility and accommodation, cheating, plagiarism. It's all things that you guys can read on your own. Obviously, the attendance policy isn't going to be strictly enforced this semester, just because you guys can choose to do synchronous or asynchronous work for this class. If you miss a deadline, however, that's where I'll refer to the attendance policy. So if you have, some reason you couldn't turn something in on time, these are the only excusable reasons that they need documentation if possible. But those are the only reasons that you would be given a grace period for a deadline if needed. Okay. The withdrawal policy is also on here. And I've also included dates with regard to the withdrawal policy a little bit lower down. Also, preferred gender pronouns, it's 2020, and there's a lot to keep up with. Personally, I prefer she, her pronouns. But if you are non-binary or, I don't know your guys' situations, but if you prefer to be referred to with certain pronouns, please let me know, because I don't want to offend anybody. I want to respect, what your identity is and who you see yourself as. So just please let me know ahead of time, and if I make a mistake, I don't mean to offend anyone. There's more down here. I also put in an etiquette addendum since we're using online methods. So just go through this. Obviously, I know it's not always possible to put yourself in a quiet space with limited distractions, but, for the sake of your classmates and for myself, especially if you have your video on, just please be respectful in the online environment as much as possible. Okay, so I put some things to consider if applicable. Okay. Here are important semester dates and deadlines when we start classes. If you have to go to the campus, you'll know when the campus is closed. And then your withdrawal dates, which are important if you decide that this class is not for you. But for most of you, I'm pretty sure it's required. So hopefully you get it in the first go around. the last 3 semesters, I have never had a person who has not passed. There have been a couple of close calls, but for the most part, you should be fine. Okay, it is a difficult class, and what you get out is what is reflective of the work that you put in. So as long as you dedicate a decent amount of time to studying, and you really commit yourself, I honestly think you should be fine. Below is the tentative course schedule. I have it, again, based on week. So the start date is when everything will be posted, and then the following week, Monday, is when everything is due. You'll see that topic weeks or lecture weeks, we have the topic for the week, and then the activity should pretty much go with that particular topic. Review weeks, again, there are no activities, except if you want to do the optional review material for extra credit. For exams, I've listed the day of the week that they will be available. They will be available for 24 hours. Or not 24 hours. They start at 8 a.m. and they end at 11:59. So it's pretty much a full class time day plus a little bit of extra time. They will not be timed exams. Usually on exam days, I'll have some window of time. Usually it'll be our lecture time, where I will have a Zoom meeting open for anybody who wants to ask questions or is running into technical issues. That way I can see your screen and help you figure out some stuff. I'm still kind of troubleshooting how I want to do that this semester, since I'm doing exams a little bit differently than I did at the end of last semester. But this is pretty much what our schedule is going to look like for the semester. Things are subject to change. If they do, I will always post you immediately, or update you immediately, and I'll post it several times. So you should stay up to date pretty easily. Your final exam in the finals schedule on the website is listed as Wednesday, December 16th from 7:15 to 9:15 p.m. Obviously, we're not going to adhere to the time, so it'll still be Wednesday, December 16th, but it'll be the same 8 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. time frame. Okay? Remember, final exam is cumulative, and if you're happy with your first 3 exam scores, you don't have to take it. Okay? As far as additional notes, all lectures, activities, and quizzes will be posted on Monday of each week, and everything will be available starting at 8 o'clock. Okay? You can complete coursework at your own pace. I know a lot of you noted in the survey that you have, 3 or 4 other classes in addition to work schedules, so I'm trying to make it so that you can work this class into your schedule as easily as possible. Just make sure you keep track of your deadlines and you're sticking to your weekly schedule so that you don't get behind. Okay. For weekly due dates, please refer to the checklist that I provided on Beachboard. And each module or each week will have its own checklist, so there's a lot of different places that you can check deadlines. Okay. Hopefully this was helpful as an introduction to the course, and yeah, I can't wait to do the semester with you guys.